There's no video of the first time I played live, but there is of the second. I was in a band called Chasm, with a K and a Z, very cool. The first thing we played was a school talent show in about, towards Christmas 2008, when I was 12. And that went down really well, and off the back of that we got an offer to play this show in town with a bunch of the bands that we were going to be going to high school with. That is to say, they were already at the high school, so they were like the big kids to us. That show in town was about May 2009, when I just turned 13. And I suppose you're probably looking at it now. You're probably watching it now. Shout out to Sammy for filming this. Big up 2009 crew, squad. The band only played a couple of times. What am I talking about? The band only played a couple more times after that, and I spent most of high school going through this like emo metal phase thing. It was very confusing, very cringe. Here are some photos. Even though the band wasn't really playing anymore, I always kind of had it in the back of my head that being in a band and playing music was what I wanted to do. When I was about 16, I remember hitting kind of a wall and wondering what exactly I was doing with my life, which is very deep, very dark for a 16-year-old, I know, but I just had this feeling that I wanted to do music, and I didn't want to go to uni and get a real job like I felt school was kind of pushing me towards. And so I put an advert online on a site called Join My Band, which may or may not still exist, for a musician and a singer. And that's how I met Max, who a lot of you know. And we started a band together called The Fidgets, and spent a good 5 or 6 years playing endlessly. We wrote so many songs and we played so many gigs, and we busked probably 1,000 times. And I started making a living off making music, so I was doing what I always wanted to do. We really honed our skills those few years. You know, we spent a lot of time on stage, spent a lot of time playing and writing, just getting good at being musicians, you know. But after about 5 or 6 years of the band, about 2 years ago, we split up. We split up for a lot of reasons, but looking back on it now, the main thing for me was that I didn't feel like I could say what I needed to say. We were too much of a pop band, or we were trying to be too much of a pop band, and I found it very difficult to write lyrics about the stuff that I wanted to write lyrics about. I mean, the world's been going crazy since about, well, the world feels like it's been going crazy since about 2016, and I felt like I needed to write about that. I felt like I couldn't be quiet about it anymore. I feel like we're kind of at a point with everything now where like nobody really gets to be quiet anymore. So I went out on my own as Ryan.mcmey, and about halfway through 2019 I started putting out new stuff that I'd been writing, stuff that said what I was really thinking, you know? And I felt like I was saying what I needed to say for years. Politics and Cocaine was the first one that I wrote. That came out May last year. It's about how strange everything's gotten. Like if I look back now, like 10 years ago when I was in Chasm, hanging around with the 2009 crew, it was, I mean, nobody needed to care about politics or anything. Politics was, I mean, people did, but nobody needed to. It wasn't as crazy as it is now. Politics and Cocaine is really about how over the top everything's gotten, to the point that everybody kind of needs to take notice of what's happening now. It felt like a breath of fresh air to finally say what I felt like I needed to say for so long. And from that point on, you couldn't really stop me. I spent the last 6 months of 2019 in this room, in my studio at home. It's just a tiny room in the back of my house with some guitars in it. Just spent 6 months in here, just writing and recording and covering songs and putting it up online. And as I put this stuff out and started saying what I felt like I needed to say, you guys started showing up. So that's where you come into the story. And you guys have been unbelievable. If there's anything that's kept me doing what I'm doing, it's you guys. I mean, I didn't, when I left the band, I didn't expect that the stuff that I felt like I needed to say would strike a chord with so many people. But ever since I've been putting stuff out, and especially this year, through all the craziness of this year, I've put out I Told You So and SOS, Build Me a Wall, Dramatic, these songs that are about how I feel things are going, and every one has been a bigger release than the one before. Dramatic smashed all the expectations I had for it within 2 or 3 days of being out, so that it's just unbelievable. You guys blow my mind. It's pretty much everything that I've ever wanted, that you guys care about what I'm saying. Like, the fact that I get messages from some of you guys and comments from some of you guys sometimes saying, even just saying stuff like, oh wow, the shade at Boris in I Told You So. Like, 15-year-old me would be a happy guy if he knew. And I can't thank you guys enough for that. I really can't. This next song that's out next week, this one's about relationships. It's about the breakdown of relationships at the moment, I think. It's about how, well, it's about Tinder and dating apps and going out clubbing on Friday nights looking for some connection with people, and how difficult it is to find and maintain a connection with people in like the social media age, I guess. And it certainly hasn't become any easier with lockdown. I can't wait for you all to hear it. I can't wait to take this next step of the story with you. I'm grateful to have you on board for all of this. I'm so grateful that you have liked what I've been saying. I'm so grateful that you're along for the ride with me. I can't think of a better bunch of people to share this with, so thank you very much. I appreciate you being on this journey with me.